All right, here we are on the Get Foxy show with Dr. Eryn Eberlein. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm glad that you are. So right off the bat, I'd really like to know how you got into the chiropractic field.
Oh, well, it's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it as much as possible.
We've got the time.
Okay, well, when I was in high school and college, I had really severe depression and actually almost failed out of CU Boulder where I was going to school. I made it through painfully, and I started dabbling with the healing arts just to look for something different because the medications each made me a special kind of crazy. We tried a few different kinds of meds, and it just didn't work for me. It didn't make sense. So I tried everything from reflexology to past life regression to rolfing, you name it. I tried it, and it all helped quite a bit, and I got it under control for the most part. And then when I graduated finally and entered the workforce, I was miserable. I hated it. I didn't like it. I couldn't understand how people could do this for years. And so my depression kind of started creeping back. Probably a couple years after I graduated college, I met my chiropractor. I'd never been adjusted before, never knew anything about it. I didn't even know chiropractors were doctors. So I was in my early 20s. And I signed up and started getting adjusted, and slowly but surely, I just felt the depression melt away, and I could just think more clearly and see more clearly. And so I ended up getting a really good job that I loved. But ultimately, I ended up, after about a year of getting adjusted, I ended up going to chiropractic school. I sold my house, quit my job, moved across the country, and went. And it was the best 5 years of my life. And now that I'm a chiropractor, I can kind of offer that gift to other people. Like, you've tried everything, nothing's really making sense for you. Let's see what I can do for you. So I'm kind of extending it on, almost like a legacy, if that makes sense.
You bet.
That's how I got into that.
Gotcha. Well, you see, a lot of the listeners, or at least the listener that I really want to help, is a woman who's somewhere in her late 30s, had children, maybe she's divorced, maybe she's not, but she's just overworked, she's burning the candle at both ends. Her libido might not necessarily be where she wants it to be, and when she looks in the mirror, she just kind of goes, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that you kind of had a similar experience, just maybe earlier in life with your depression.
Yeah.
And that chiropractic really was able to help you through that. So if you've got a patient who is going through something similar in that regard, how do you go about helping them start to feel better, more energetic, foxy, if you will?
Well, when you feel physically good, it's liberating. And so a lot of people associate chiropractic with back pain, neck pain, headaches, but I have very few people that come to me for actual body pain. I mean, it's great getting people out of pain, but what's really cool is stress in particular really weighs you down, and it kind of fragments you, and you're not in your center. You can't really connect with yourself, and there's these bits and pieces of you flying around. It's very chaotic, and it's hard to know what you want for yourself when you're in that place. And chiropractic it's a way of getting yourself back to your center so that you're aligned, everything becomes more clear, your brain starts to clear up, there's no more fog, and you just see yourself in a new light. It awakens the potential within you, if that makes any sense.
You bet it does.
Yeah. So the way I do my sessions, a lot of chiropractors, it's really quick, just a couple minutes in and out. But I schedule people in 15-minute time intervals, so I've got enough time to talk to them and really see what's going on. And if I know somebody needs extra time, I schedule them during a less busy time so that we can really delve into the emotional components of what it is that's going on in their lives.
That's fantastic. You see, my exposure to chiropractors, there's some chiropractors that tend to go a little bit deeper, and then there are other chiropractors that just kind of do what I call rack 'em and crack 'em. They're just kind of assembly line chiropractors, and it sounds like you tend to work on a deeper level.
Yes, I do go deeper. And the Reiki really is what takes things more in depth. So, Reiki, if you're not familiar, is basically energy work. It sounds totally voodoo and wacky and out there, but it's really a great way to get something that's hiding in your body because emotions and stress do store themselves in your tissues. So, if you're working on a person who has a lot of fear or a history of abuse, you can't just go in and start slamming on their back. You have to have a different modality to kind of coax it to the surface, and it learns to trust you, and then it just releases when it's ready. And for some people, it's quickly. For some people, it takes longer, but either way, the results are very profound. So it just takes it beyond the physical into the emotional and even spiritual, if you're open to that.
Mm-hmm. Which did you kind of come across first, the Reiki or the chiropractic work?
I came across Reiki first. I've been doing Reiki since 2010. And just kind of never really did anything with it until I got to chiropractic school. And then I learned, oh my God, these two are very cohesive. They go along really well together, and you get such better results with people when you really dig deep.
You bet. I have kind of a similar thing when I treat my patients with acupuncture. I find that craniosacral therapy blends very well with that. And cranial work's also very kind of light touch, somewhat energetic, but there is still a little bit of physical manipulation with it, but very relaxing. And so it allows someone who's very guarded to be able to soften and relax and kind of surrender themselves to that relaxation.
Yeah.
And then the treatment just becomes that much more effective. So I hear exactly where you're going with the Reiki work.
And one of my patients actually does craniosacral therapy, and she and I trade. So I've been having craniosacral therapy done for the past 5 weeks now, and it's amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's
I love it.
good stuff.
Yep.
So with the chiropractic work and the Reiki, how do those two work in synergy to bring out the, what do I want to say here? Bring out the energy of your patients. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
Okay. What I mean is, if you've got a woman who comes in and she's low energy, not feeling good, how do those two work together to bring her energy up?
Okay, so I think what it is, so if you're familiar at all with the energetic system, if you've got a blockage in a particular area, energetically speaking, there's going to be a vertebral correlation, meaning a vertebra that goes along with that. So you use the Reiki to kind of scan the person's spine with your hands, kind of run energy up and down their body, see where that block's at, and then just kind of hold your hands over it and feel what happens. Is it resistant? Is it like, oh my God, I want to come to the surface? Is it like, ooh, get away from me? So you can just kind of use it to read a person's body and what it is they need at that moment. And so when you start to access that, you can just kind of feel the energy disperse and go away, and it will either feel appropriate to do an adjustment or not. If a manual adjustment is too intense, I'll use an instrument, or I'll just use light touch to kind of see how the body responds. And every time, hands down, when a person is done with a session, they feel energized because we have released whatever it is that's weighing you down out into wherever it is that it goes. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm totally with you there. For listeners not very familiar with chiropractic work, what exactly do you mean by adjustment?
Well, when the most traditional way of adjusting somebody is to literally put your hands on it and thrust into the joint so it makes that popping noise. Chiropractors call it an adjustment. People call it crack, crack my back, and that makes chiropractors mad, but that's just what people call it. But there are so many different techniques. I think there's over 200 different chiropractic techniques. And so I kind of picked about 10 that I use, and I adjust everybody differently. Some people are terrified of having their neck adjusted, and you have to honor that, and you have to find different ways of getting the same job done in a way that's not threatening or invasive to them.
Yeah, well, I agree. Every patient is unique, and some are going to be more sensitive than others. How do you determine what techniques to use on your patients?
Well, my first session with a person, the first time I go to adjust them, I go very light. I'm a very light adjuster anyhow, but I just I explain to them what's going to happen. I watch their face to see how they're reacting. I watch for body language, like if people's shoulders clench up, I'm like, okay, they're not comfortable with that. You just really have to watch them as you're doing things, and a lot of it is intuition. If your intuition is like, don't do that, you have to listen to it and just kind of try something else until you can see the person relax into what you're doing instead of fighting it. Because if they fight, it's counterproductive. It doesn't get anything done.
Yeah. If you've got someone who's really stiffening up
Mm-hmm.
and unable to relax and let themselves receive treatment, then the treatment doesn't go very well.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So you have to really honor what a person is capable of handling at that point, and it changes. Some people over time are like, okay, I'm ready for you to pop my neck, and I'm like, all right, let's do it, and they're like, oh my god, I love it. But some people they're like, no, please don't ever do that, and that's fine. It's okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I hate that saying, but it really suits.
Well, from skinning a cat to, let's go to Foxy. I've been asking this question to all of my guests on the show. What does Foxy and being Foxy mean to you, Eryn?
Well, I feel like when I feel Foxy, I am on my path. I am really helping people. I know what I'm doing. I feel good about myself. I look in the mirror and I'm like, hey girl, what's up? And I feel like you need to be confident and comfortable in your own skin. And it's not about how you look. It's not about that, although that does help. It helps to feel like you physically look good. But when you are on your soul path and doing what you're put here to do and giving your gifts to other people, you start radiating beauty from the inside out. So a Foxy woman is somebody who knows what she wants, is not afraid to go get it, and nothing can stop her from living her passion and her dreams. Nothing.
Amen to that.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing there was probably a time in your life where you couldn't necessarily find your Foxy.
Exactly.
What did you do to eventually reclaim that and own it?
Well, it took a long time, relatively speaking. I'm 34 now, so, I'm finally now at a place where I truly feel that every day. But I was always questioning. I couldn't ever settle, and I was never happy. And I don't mean that in the sense that, I'm so negative that nothing can make me happy. It was just, I wasn't happy in the sense that nothing felt right. And so I didn't stop searching until I found it. And then once I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I'm going for it. And I did. And it was scary for me because I wasn't a very adventurous person. I've always been, had a lot of anxiety and all that kind of thing that goes along with depression. But I just took a leap of faith and did it. And it was the best decision of my life to move across the country and go to chiropractic school. And that's when everything changed. I mean, that had its own trials and tribulations, don't get me wrong, but it got me to where I am now, and I truly do feel Foxy right now.
And that right there is why we have you on the show. Because when you can share those kinds of trials,
Mm-hmm.
other women going through similar situations can hear, oh man, okay, well, Dr. Eryn's done it. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I can do that too.
Yeah, and of course you can. Truly the only person stopping you is yourself. At the end of the day, yourself is the only person you have to blame. But you also have to be ready for it, and it has to be the right thing. And when it is, you'll know, and you'll just feel this pull, and your intuition will be screaming at you, and don't ignore that. Really just, sometimes you have to just jump,
Yep. Yeah, that's really what it kind of takes, is stepping into a little bit of that fear
Mm-hmm.
and stretching your comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah,
But that's where the magic happens.
that is where the magic happens. And it's so funny, when you're on the right path, you'll know it, because what used to be difficult will become easy and doors will just open for you. It's as if the universe or God or whoever is like, good job, I'm going to make your life super easy now. Let's just green lights all around. It's so funny how it happens. Things just work out financially, everything. It's wild.
Who embodies Foxy in your world right now?
Ooh, let me think about that. Oh, I have this really good friend she's a fellow body worker. She does Thai massage, but she also does energy work and shamanism and really cool things. And she's been doing what she does for about 17 years, and she's truly magical. Her body work is phenomenal. And she's a wandering spirit, and she finally found her place in Costa Rica. So she still has her practice here, and she comes back every few months and works and then goes back to Costa Rica. But she has created a life where she can live the life of her dreams, and she doesn't have to work constantly. And she has this beautiful place down in Costa Rica with her husband and her son, and she just knew what she wanted, and it took a long time, but she never stopped working for it. And I am a beach girl to my core. I love the beach. And so one day I want to have a practice on the beach. And I know that when I'm in my element eventually, and that's the thing, like, you can be happy, but you're never going to stop wanting more. Like, that's the kind of person she is. She's a little bit older than me, but I see her as me projected into the future because our paths have been so parallel. So she's kind of my inspiration in a sense.
Nice.
Yeah.
What sort of practices do you do that help keep you in that Foxy state?
I am constantly reading. I am constantly, watching inspirational videos. I am constantly learning and growing and seeking answers. I get tons of body work done myself. I get acupuncture, craniosacral therapy. I get adjusted. I get massage. I get all kinds of stuff. So happiness is hard work. You can't just become complacent and be like, my life's good now, I'm just going to sit back. I mean, that's just not how it works. If you're really hungry for knowledge and passion and you want your life to be exciting every day, you work at it every day. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an amazing concept right there, Eryn. Happiness is hard work.
It is. It is hard work. And don't get me wrong, I have bad days. There's days where I'm not, just like anybody else. Days where I'm just like, oh my God, like, I don't want to get out of bed. But they're few and far between. It's not every day now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would think when we say happiness is hard work, I think it's, when we think hard work, it sounds like drudgery, and it doesn't sound pleasant. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think with happiness work, when you're working at happiness, it isn't necessarily drudgery, is
No,
it?
it's not drudgery at all. It's things that really inspire you and ignite that passion within you and keep that flame burning. And so it's things you look forward to doing, but to some it might seem like drudgery, but if you're really into whatever it is you're doing, it's not work at all. And you want to do it with all of your soul because it keeps you at this higher vibration so that the magic can keep happening.
You bet. You bet. I've kind of experienced that myself here within the last couple of years where I've been doing more personal development and finding that, I'm happier after I go through some of these exercises that my coaches have put me through, but while doing the work, it's uncomfortable.
Yes.
Having to kind of deal with my own issues. But at the same time, the results are, oh man, I feel so much lighter. Oh yeah, I feel so much more self-confident. Yeah, when I look in the mirror, I'm like, hey buddy, how are you?
Nice mustache.
Sweet mustache, yes. So, what is the one piece of advice that you could give my Vulpanistas, that's my tribe, the Vulpanistas, these women who are lovers of all things Foxy, what's the one piece of advice you have for them about how to stay Foxy?
I would say you are worth it, no matter what it costs, no matter, you're worth it. You owe it to yourself to live the life of your dreams. Because we are all goddesses. We're all Foxy goddesses. And if we want to be the people we dream of becoming, you have to invest in yourself on all levels, financial, emotional, physical, spiritual. And you are worth it.
I couldn't have summed it up any better. at all. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you so that they can learn more about your work, possibly see you for an appointment, how would they do that?
They can email me. Most of my patients have my cell phone number. They can have that. They can text me. They can call my office. I can provide, you can get a hold of me on Facebook. There's so many ways to get a hold of people.
What is your website, Eryn?
My website is longmontici.com. And then my email is Dr. Eryn, ERYN, at longmontici.com.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Eryn, so much for spending the time with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And I'd love to have you again. Come on the show in the future.
I will. Thank you so much.
You bet.